We went on our first cruise with Virgin Voyages on the Scarlet Lady. Virgin Voyages is adults only, and they do things a lot differently than other cruise lines. Things are a lot more casual and everything is tailored towards an adult type experience. You will see little pieces of that throughout this video. I did not record any footage of Deck 4 because that only has tender boarding locations and the medical center. As we start on Deck 5, the main attractions are the Sailor Services Help Desk, the Pink Agave and Razzle Dazzle restaurants, and the Redemption Spa. They have conveniently placed information boards that shows what is on each deck as well as the other decks placed at all of the major staircases. We are starting in the midship area and moving starboard towards Sailor Services, where they have the desks set up as well as some seating where you can wait for people to help you. Moving to the back of the ship from Sailor Services will take you to the Pink Agave restaurant. Unfortunately it was closed at this time, so I could not record inside, but this is where it is located. Coming back to the midship area and going forward to the port side will take us into the Redemption Spa. Heading to the back of the ship on the port side will take us into Razzle Dazzle. As you can see, the design is very interesting with a lot of lines and colors. Each restaurant on the ship has its own kitchen and caters to its own specific menu. Unlike what you'll find on many other cruise ships where there's a main dine-in, that is not the case in Virgin Voyages. Each restaurant is unique and each restaurant is included. Moving up to Deck 6 takes us to one of the main guest decks of the ship. There are no cabins on this deck. This deck has 3 restaurants, the shops, the nightclub, the casino, and the theater as some of the featured spaces. Coming up the midship staircase puts us right into the heart of High Street, which is the retail shop district of the ship. Moving towards the back on the starboard side takes us into the Extra Virgin restaurant. Extra Virgin is an Italian restaurant that also features a wine bar with a very wide selection. Like I mentioned earlier, each restaurant is uniquely themed and has its own unique menu. As we move through the ship's retail store district, you will see a lot of familiar items if you have been on a cruise ship. They have an essential store in case you forgot anything, as well as high-end bags, clothing, jewelry stores, and a Virgin Voyages store which sells all the Virgin branded merchandise. As we continue into the beautiful roundabout atrium area, you can see they have a barber shop or hair salon, as well as a makeup store, a liquor store, and one of the unique things to Virgin Voyages is they have a tattoo parlor on board. The casino is not as big as what I've seen on other cruise ships, but it is still very well equipped with a variety of slot machines and various table games as well. The entrance to the Manor, which is the ship's nightclub, is also through the casino. Unfortunately, it was closed off, so I couldn't go in, but that is where you enter it. As we exit the casino and move into the forward part of the ship, it takes us to the Red Room. This is the theatre and other event space that they use on the ship. The Red Room spans Deck 6 and Deck 7. This is what the Red Room looks like when it is packed out for an event. As you can see, that open floor space has been used for seating, and that is how they change and use this as a flex space. As we exit the Red Room and head towards the port side of the ship, it brings us into the den. This is another flex space that is used for events on the ship, and you can see it's currently set up for a poker tournament. Now that we've made our way back through the casino, we are in the roundabout atrium area where there's the On the Rocks bar right by the atrium. This bar leads into more of the retail stores along the port side of the ship. Continuing forward on the port side through the retail stores brings us to Test Kitchen. This is a very uniquely themed restaurant where everything is experimental, so they have unique dishes that are not served anywhere else on the ship with ingredients that you may not necessarily think would go together. Overall, it was a very interesting dine-in experience. very back of the ship on Deck 6 is the Wake. This is a steakhouse and seafood restaurant that features a martini bar. The only access to the Wake is through the staircase from Deck 7, or if you take the elevators at the back of the ship to Deck 6. In my opinion, this restaurant has the best views on the ship, with the windows going right off the back where you can see the Wake. Deck 7 is another deck on the ship that is wholly tailored to guests with no rooms on it. This deck features the arcade, a variety of restaurants, an ice cream shop, and the upper level of the Red Room Theatre as some of its main attractions. Coming up the midship staircase and head into the starboard side and back of the ship will bring us through Grounds Club, which is a coffee bar. The ship is designed with Instagram in mind, so there's lots of areas like this that are cool for taking pictures, as you can see with the swings and the backdrops. Continuing back brings us into the Social Club, which is a diner and bar. As we move across the port side, that brings us into the Loose Cannon, which is a local dive bar. Continuing back down the port side of the ship, it brings us into the arcade. The ship did have clear signs indicating which way is forward, back, port, and starboard. We are now entering the Dock House, which is a casual Mediterranean bar. This area has seating on both sides, with the bar being on the port side of the ship. Coming up to the back elevator shows a unique thing that Virgin has done by color coding each set of staircases and elevators so that you can easily tell them apart. All the way at the back of the ship is the entrance to the wake that we looked at on Deck 6. Heading back over to the port side of the ship brings us to the entrance to the dock. This is an outdoor eatery and bar with great views off the back of the ship. Deck 7 is also the home of an exterior walkway that goes the entire length around the ship. Really cool place to just take a walk, and they have some chairs out there that you can sit out and relax and enjoy the views. Returning to the midship area on the port side brings us to the pizza place. This is the perfect place for a midnight snack since they're open until 2 a.m. Continuing forward on the port side brings us to Lick Me Till Ice Cream. This is the ship's ice cream shop. Continuing forward brings us to the upper level of the roundabout atrium. Next up on the port side is Draft House, which is another bar. Switching back over to the starboard side takes us through Voyage Vinyl, which is the onboard record shop. On the starboard side is Get Lost, where you can plan your next cruise, as well as Chart Room, where you can get support from the crew. Continuing forward on the starboard side brings us into Sip, which is a champagne lounge. Crossing back over to the port side brings us into the Groupie, which is a private karaoke area. Here's another great example how everything on the ship is color coded. As we enter the forward elevator, you can see that everything is colored purple. As we move on up, decks 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are solely dedicated towards cabins and suites. Deck 15 is the next entertainment-oriented deck that features the pool, several bars and restaurants, as well as the gym areas of the ship. Deck 15 at the forward elevators, you can see they have everything listed that's on the deck. The very front part of deck 15 is all rooms, but this is a good opportunity to show how they have it labeled. So they have the Z, and that lets you know that you're on the forward. That is for the forward starboard side of the ship. And then looking across on the other side, there's an A, and it's also labeled for the forward. That is for the port side of the ship. Moving back from the forward elevators on the port side of the ship takes us into the Scene. This is an exclusive event space. Moving over to the starboard side from the Scene takes us to the Tune-Up, which is a mani-pedi spa and a medi spa. Moving back over and exiting on the port side takes us into the main pool area of the ship. Now that we're back inside, on the starboard side is the B complex build and balance. This is the section of the gym with all the weight training equipment. Crossing over to the starboard side takes us to the cardio section of the gym. Exiting the gym and continuing back takes us into the galley. This is Virgin Voyages' take on the buffet. Everything is market style, where you basically order or collect from various stations. On the port side of the ship inside the galley is Gun Bay, which is the ship's Korean barbecue restaurant. The galley also offers outside seating all the way at the back of the ship, which has great views. Moving up the back staircase to deck 16 takes us to another entertainment deck that has a lot of the athletic features of the ship as well as some of the sunbathing areas. Right at the top of the staircase is the athletic club bar. This is one of the many bars on the ship. The back of the ship is also where the net is located. This is another great spot to get those social media pictures. Deck 16 offers some great views of the oceans, with hot tubs and seating located around the deck. The sports area is also located on deck 16. This area can be accessed from both the port and starboard sides of the ship. The starboard side of the ship on deck 16 is the home of the cabanas. These are private hideaways that are available for rent. I was able to get exclusive access inside one of the cabanas, so this is what you can expect if you rent one. We are now entering the Sun Club, which is an area dedicated to viewing the ocean and soaking up the sun. The Sun Club would not be complete without having a bar. As we get towards the front of deck 16, it brings us to Rich's rooftop. This is the VIP sun deck and bar that is reserved for the Rockstar and other suites. Towards the front of the ship on the port side, just outside Rich's rooftop, is the Sun Club Cafe. This is an outdoor restaurant with great views. Exiting the Sun Club and continuing back on the port side of the ship brings us to the boxing ring and an outdoor workout area. Just inside the doors next to the boxing ring is training camp. This is a group fitness class area. Right outside the sports area on the port side of the ship is the athletic club. Heading up to deck 17 brings us to the highest deck of the Scarlet Lady. This deck features the Perch, which is an outdoor yoga location, and the Runaway, which is the ship's jogging track.